Great folks, of course, the hour is here, and this is exactly the judgment day that you need to know and hear. Afemesro baby edre agrobie nimsa tie krate ya yebekan nyame na metroe ya yamba nyono troe na dia ye kan say in the political class no NPP nipa bia wo beti udin yesro ye bie ye doors come documents we ye documents are etire kwanya aban epeso obu amemuo no ne kwanya womuni nipa bi akabom na efi omani nyapade ye beche ne say now no me catch them say the comeback and now so say you be breaking 8 yes say be breaking 8 keke 8 no be breaking no you breaking the 8 and come and complete the state capture and agro. Tonight we're walking all our listeners and viewers here in Ghana and around the world through this path. T document in the Ebeka. Now bet it idea who do be brave. Now be who why and tear say nipa ku nipa winum womuye ni maybe. Ewo Ghanaian political airspace in him. Now we start, shall we? The third phase now air or said the national situation as regards the media landscape. The national situation as regards the media landscape. And the about some the media landscape and the mura and some trade humanum a kwanya sani pakwe sa political class and na mo mpeso mutu e media landscape ne dia na mo no ometu so far. Or see, the media has remained a veritable weapon in shaping public opinion and agenda setting strategy. We therefore have to wage an even more valiant war in pursuit of our grand scheme to capture and dominate the media landscape. If our overriding ambition is to be realized, in this regard, we have to adopt a multi-pronged approach while making sure that the critical mass of the nation will not connect the rapid media capture with us. Phase 1. We envisage that the role of Kojo Opon Nkrumah, first name I drop it. The role of Kojo Opon Nkrumah would continue to be crucial in our quest to dominate the Ghanaian media landscape. He was super when planted around some big weights of the ex-Wal Mills Mahama government, whilst at Joy FM, his secret recordings from then ruling government illuminated our discussions and greatly influenced our strategy, which culminated in the landslide victory of 2016. What a Opon Nkrumah se wuti udia ye paucho come near misa wasem. We need to ask you some questions. What a naturally say, according to this document, Opon Nkrumah sa political elite class one more fanom Emma say during Atamil's time one NDC mpenufo kodi di nkoma sa nkoma Opon Nkrumah echo record nina. At the same time, Opon Nkrumah also was the host of Joy FM Super Morning Show, unknown to many and unknown to even the political class. And say, and our Ghanaian political system say, Oshe Joy FM honi na so no na oye political party be bidding. Or then secret recordings from the then ruling government illuminating just in Komo course no or recording na in 2016 at the Bre Wonum. Say ye ne kre document in there come. And wherever Opon Nkrumah you are, please come out. We are journalists and so a politician. We need to speak to you folks. Or say, no wonder that Gabi made every effort for the young man to be promoted to the office of a substantive information minister. Afiwate. Or say, this is more so when we cannot vouch for the credibility and loyalty of Dr. Mustafa Hamed at crucial times. He, Mustafa, was the longest serving spokesperson of Nana, but we were shocked when Nana caught him stealing campaign cash in such critical opposition era where we were suffocating from the inadequate resources to prosecute the campaign. Aheisu Domopa Chani say, Eye Ora Mustafa Hameda, Sisi Oye, NPA for boss no, on Nana Kanena no Oye, Eye Akufado, the spokesperson. But Omo Chesa no Muntimi. According to report, Sikebi Eda baby Omuchese Mustafa Kofa says kind of for whatever reason. Etiema afi no munyini ni se bia onokra no bia ombetimi ama wababe head information ministry hono. Enu nti omo gabi aserochire da queen and wo ya arrangement no eme yedo opon kroma koshe ministry of information. Yankoswe more names to come. Biwaso or say it is now obvious that Mr. Nkrumah has an ultimate presidential ambition. Hey, we have a fiduciary duty to protect him and to assure him of our support for the future. The support would get him to commit to the media capture agenda. It is satisfying that he has been part of our manifesto drafting from 2012 till date. Afido Moka Wahane said, Ora upon Krumanso, Neni womu said that to be Obabe president. In the so buano shen kutupa na utimiye nyoma so yenina abra. Womusu say upon Kruma Ebabeka agenda no metimia capture Ghana media no a capture muina. In the next government 2021 to 2024, Tihae Afi Yedemu Kofi. Or say in the next government 2021 Equasi 2024, Gabi has already convinced Nana to move Kojo Opon Nkrumah to the communications ministry to continue the clampdown on opposition as well as the not too friendly radio and television stations. He is already excited about this promise. On two grounds, he would be deemed to remain one of the loyalists for the future. Secondly, that ministry has one of the richest, hence a conduit for him to increase his personal financial muscles for his presidential ambitions. Ahei, the Omopa Chene say, Afi Opon Nkrumah. According to report, Gabi Asrochira, any president, Akasa no, woman free Minister of Information and communication. Said to this, and presidential ambition or Benis Kadia Bono, if you so Obebwa, Emma, a friend saying, Wometimi enya grounds are, sa grounds on Ebama, Wometimi radio stations, TV stations are, Mwa womono, Wometimi the eclusin down. Folks. Enya agrono mo ba bedio ene emu tables ni ade ade a o maye to be hu media houses ne bebre ni ade ade e wo afi o koso a o say Kojo Opon Nkrumah and journalists tie o say while our team aims at total dominance of the media architecture in the nearest future, there is the need to have a generally good appeal in the media to this end. We have observed that the discourse in the media has been generally fruitful. This has not happened by accident. Kojo Opon Nkrumah, KON, has successfully recruited about 80% of top journalists, including some with adversarial tendencies towards us. His weekly covert meetings with them to plan the issues of the week have been exceedingly impactful. Report in it says, I feel upon Krumano, one of my yen say, as so to me recruited journalists if what? Say journalists if we one be cabo no my ye juma, I feel every week piano a so me meeting. According to reports, Omochese upon Nkrumah etimia capture about 80% of the media journalists for more Ghana. As our journalists for bebre so cry non align. Our more enkanko abain ho na so etimia capture omina. Very serious. Listen. Or see the role of Kweku Bako Yabonidi, one of them. The roles of Kweku Bako, Paul Adom Ochre, Kwame Sefakai and Obi. I want you to check how these media guys say anadri what omudiam afi de me pesa me catch on say go down and check how sad journalists if we omeduma yabobo mudi the roles of Kweku Bakon, Paul Adumochire, Kwame Sefakai and Obi of multimedia cannot be underestimated. It is for this reason that Nana nearly sacked Kandapa for delaying the release of their monthly allowance of 1 million Ghana cedis. Did you hear that? Let's just say each one of them every month be saying 1 million Ghana cedis. Says he can have a free National Security Minister Kandapa. Since the national security budget does not go through the normal scrutiny, this group has to be assured of an enhancement of their regular emolument in our next government on condition that they work hard for our anticipated victory in December. Ebusiafo ntine papa niye yankoso e o say afiyemra another stage to media for no media for yabobo mudin any sika yede masa media for now journalists for yabobo mudin ora Abdul Malik Kweku Bakon, editor in chief of the New Crusading Guide, come out. Paul Adum Ochre, Paul, you a friend, a brother, Pewasem, Minim, say Nukro, Yabodi, Brabontin. Afi when Yaboni Dibium. Obio, o hostu program, our multimedia, Asempa, Ekosi, saying, Nidiepie. Then, why? Indefatigable. They be no my home to studio. Na me chairman. Na me say chairman why chairman this. Kwame Sefakai, come out. All of you, you cannot sit on your radio. You cannot sit on your TV stations. Namobe Madrin said you want to add up to the cleanup exercise so for us to ensure that the political system is being put in check and the media is not being checked. How? What to be that? Yabomudin, yes, 1 million Ghana cedis from national security coffers. Is it true? Now, Yankwe, Oslo Usu on closure of opposition media. Very, very troubling and very serious. We score Osla Owusu 70% for her execution of the agenda to close down pro-NDC radio and television stations. While we praise her for closing media entities such as whilst we then praise her for closing media entities such as 1. Radio XYZ. Radio interview when we send here, radio stations say you close when you that document we are trying. Now, when we say those unscrupulous beings in a motor say document in any source, go and tell the Marine say yeah, say radio stations, TV stations, moon close Bibi Samo, you evil people, bonnet, evil, workers of evil, moon close radio stations. So, is the document telling us a lie or the document is telling us something we need to gauge the space? Having to close it, Oslo Usu on close to our stations in listen. XY, Radio XYZ, Capital Radio. I've worked for Capital Radio in Kumasi before. Capital Radio, Muntie FM, and many more. She scores some low marks in the implementation of the strategy. Yabo Osluusu, Yabo Nabasu, Osla Mami Ekufu. Yabo Nabasu said, wait to me close to our radio station. Bonabasu, Wayeduma, at their short Yakupuinum. Or say, now listen. She scores some low marks in the implementation of the strategy. We expected her to leave Radio Gold from the list for obvious tactical reasons. She could have waived their debts like she has done for our friendly stations such as Ash FM in Kumasi. She could have been fired for the avoidable backlash in strategy, but for her for her long-standing role as Nana's protege. As someone can say, woman in Yimami Oslewusu who are Kunia said, Radio Gold no co close no nyadi omani Jones said, closing Radio Gold so clear say no. Inipa ini beba ho. Na so community no why then we co close Radio Gold. And on which I say, sent to Omoden and Hochen is because Oya Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo ni protege no. One Nana ne kona ekranda. Tie afiyemra phase 2 of the media control 2018-2020. Joy 99.5 FM and others. Joy 99.5 and others e wo Kumasi o. Yanko hwani yanko hwa ade omobe o. O say there is no doubt that Joy 99.7 FM and the multimedia group will remain an industry leaders in the communication sphere of the country, while relying on them as a veritable ally. Anti-NPP agenda by some of their staff does not portend well for us. We were left with no choice but to have used our quote boys to threaten Manasseh Azure Awuni, while his publications in the past inured to our political benefit. He has overstretched himself in his attempt to assume an air of neutrality. He has influential to our historic victory, but his constant attacks on government culminating into the quote militia documentary was most unfortunate. Asamaba. The Omoka Wahenya is a multimedia for one of our allies. Nanso, enipakuo bi wo ho ne mu a se enipakuo no ye bo ba kudi Manasseh Azure awoni se ono no ontimi enye na adwene mo ne nko enna nkranda. Domo be bia ne wetiem, dom be bia ne wetiem. Na enso mo ye den wo mo fa ne ho adwene yi papa. Ye nko ha. Now, there elaborate support to our friendly media. A kwanya afi omo behwe so mbeboa omo media allies no omo do omo sisi ne ebe kwan ben so. Now listen. I say lessons born out of the Manasseh debacle cannot be glossed over. It proved that we cannot overly rely on a seemingly friendly media to take total control of the communication space in the country. The NCA waivers we offered the Ken City Media and other party affiliates over their licenses must continue. In 2021, Kojo Opon Nkrumah will present a comprehensive list of other radio stations that must be recruited into this fold. We have to issue receipts covering the next 10 years as being payment of post-paid renewals. Professor Adai has already received instructions from Nana to give tax waivers to the media entities that would be submitted to him. Kojo Opon Nkrumah is already making sure that about 90% of government advertisement go to the pro-NPP media. Same must be replicated in our next government. These lofty gestures would ensure that our friendly media houses consolidate financial reserves and use power of financial capacity to outplay the NDC media in the ever-increasing competitive media environment. Iranam asemnanodne. Yao, ube take it the next reserving electronic communication frequencies to true party faithfuls. Anna, okay, take it over.
Reserving the electronic communication frequencies to true.
Now, I had a clarification. Just say, dear Yao, ebe kan chirese. Afi no womo reserve electronic communication frequencies. So, inti se wuko ji TV licenses, radio licenses. Ni amfa ma wa. Reason ama o amfa ma on chirese. Womo reserve sa licenses on edi one of their own TV stations and radio stations. Folks, as a channel, no. Yao baby redeem if yati see what is inside it. Yao, take it up.
It is important to note that while supporting pro-MPP media would attract their loyalty and support towards us, getting out and out party members to establish radio and TV stations would be a sure bet. ESLA has been instructed by Nana through Gabi to execute Plan A of this plan. Underpinning the plan is to allocate seized NDC frequencies to our members.
Oh, not just NDC prone stations are yes, easy the dana or slow, so shutting it down. One more bedges are frequencies, you know, at the one of their own stations. Yes, sir. I see. Yeah, go on.
Even if the original owners are willing to pay multiple of times, she is to refuse their renewal since dominance over money is our focal point.
Are you kidding me? Not just frequencies na ye je from nzem no. Se stations owners no cry ban almost so make double cry na me FM omo.
I
see.
She is also supposed to reserve majority of the new frequencies to party members who are loyal to the Nana brand. Due to the backlash in the revocation of radio and TV licenses, she must, this time round, identify party members who are already in the media business and or those that the public sees as already rich. Gabi and Chamawuntumi are the part of the Plan A, which continues till 2024, when Nana completes his 2 terms.
I see.
It is important to note that Kojo Oppong Nkrumah will, among other strategies as the next communication minister, allocate frequencies which are close and can interfere with pro-NDC brands such as Class Media.
Hey, wait a minute. Ghana for a few minutes. Take that again. Take that again.
It is important to note that Kojo Oppong Nkrumah will, among other strategies as the next communications minister, allocate frequencies which are close and can interfere with pro-NDC brands such as Class Media, Power FM, and the EIB platforms across the country. We experimented same with Assassin 99.5 FM, which was close to Joy 99.7 FM. This is a subtle way to fight the NDC media who may have met all the regulatory requirements.
Folks, Mahu Bonnet. Infante for Casa was a bonisma. Mahu Bonnet. Share. In Simbu Mamin Timin Kanchemo. But I have to tell you, folks, Sameka Eduma, the management of Deben Class Media, led by Alhaji Sedu Agongo, the management, operations, Elom, and all top officials to put this station up, and yet every day any attacks are station way yakum. You won't believe this. And I know say listeners and viewers need be most sending message at the back to this effect. Say, your media house is under attack. Na me pese meji so mama say, oh yes. Na me pese you do documents ni me ye kanya. Afi Ghana ni awa manone, Ghana ni awa ha obeti ase. Afi wahu. Have you seen media houses are? Wamu pese wamu use wamu pro media houses na at the counter wamu de attack ye. Said ye beya yentimi en function. And also my subtle operations in the Bikra before. As I say radio air 99.5. One more person with the counter Joy FM 99.7. Can you imagine? What who bonnet? That mean person made just so, but name say one day you be drew her. And at the honor. Yow to us so.
The supersonic rise of the Angel Broadcasting Network.
Great. Now you drew another topic. Or say the supersonic rise of the Angel Broadcasting Network, ABN, is worrying. Why are Kweku Oteng ni media house no? Womuba be taking care of the media house no. Kwai ben on first we take care. Yeah, take it up.
It appears our work at disabling the EIB, GN Media, and the ongoing effort to do same with multimedia won't be the end of the struggle. The increasing growth of Kweku Oteng's media brand must be troubling. Gabi and Kandapa have already met Nana on the way forward in stopping the growing dominance of the ABN. The National Security has since dispatched officials to do a thorough forensic audit on all the businesses of Kweku Oteng. In the event no adverse finding is discovered, we shall plant fake versions of these Adonko products on the market.
Hey, Ghana formatting. Now, minima dia Kweku Oten media minim the political affiliation, so MPP ni so ye one I don't know. But according to report, Ocean media houses are Sa enkrofo o madwen se ombedi bone etia sa media houses no na wo hwe kwan ombedi Kweku Oten so fa so a for me na agyaem hihye kakra kire se afi Gabi Asarochidako any the national security minister ni share president no ma fa adwene bone e wo papa hu to the extent say adonko bites no ye no omu betwa fake e de gumegu nedwuma wo ye gu nedwuma ne kwa ye gu nu kwa for whatever reason, I don't know. Yeah, to us way.
We then have to use the same national security and FDA to arrest his production team in the full glare of the media. Like we did to his Angel Natural Capsules, using our boys at FDA, even in opposition. People will stop buying his Adonko products, the major source of his wealth. Professor Adai has also been instructed by Kandapa to liaise with assigned national security operatives to spontaneously lock up almost all the ABM brands in the country. They are to accuse them of under-invoicing and cutting corners in payment of taxes. The broadcast companies would remain locked up for about 3 months. This plan will be enough to completely halt the seeming dominance of ABN.
Iranum, but me share. ABN Kweku Oten, I stand to be corrected though, but it looks as though or tilted towards the NPP. But minima de Kruntia, Gabi Asarochidako Kandapa will liaise up with national security operatives in a spontaneous lockup or ye call loke. Neduma. Na womu lokia under the pretext of say under invoicing no me to try atono so no me gune dwuma ne keke bone ben ene Kweku Oten why MPP mpenimfo we led by President Adodankwa Akufo-Addo and this Achim group ihu bida mudi bone munom bone mudware bone ya wo mu bone mu mote party ni wo bone mu ye wudifo mu ya enabrabafo mu ya kohwifo mu ye workers of iniquities mu ye rascals ragamuffins crooks thieves and armed robbers. Yeah, go on.
Francis Oten must be axed from Parliament. There is no doubt that one reason that will make our fight against Kweku Oten is his daughter, who is the MP for Kwabri East.
Mate, Tiaho, Oside, Francisca Oten must be axed from Parliament. I just say Ekuma axed. Kweku Oten banwa owo Parliament wono ojira wan mu ticket so enya MPP for ticket so now report me je say so mo fa kwan bi so no mo ye dem o mo de Ekuma no eyi ni free ho we are some papa kan ye yaw ene ye de wo be wie 3 no.
Nana nearly made her a deputy minister for youth and sports, largely due to her age and her father's influence until the BNI report on her got to him. She seems to be pitching camp with Alan and ignorantly playing the Ashanti card.
What? And don't quite a person ye girl ni from Franciscan. Reason why it's one appointment na say President Akufo-Addo edemano no. Sa appointment en sanka. Sa same way a open secret. A lot of mu MPP for na munim mu ye nim guasefo what? Mu hu basa despicable beings. Won't say girl way post and say Nana Akufo-Addo or the man no ya farmer no. Meanwhile, yet the excuses we be fife mu na say under the pretext of some secrets be meanwhile all because Irano tilted towards Alan Cash. Monsi mu ni mu egu ase. Amamoyefo, ewudifo, enkrasefo, monte politics ase. Enkrasefo na mu huru mu nim kosoro. Mu ye so evil. You don't deserve to handle this country. I say, Muye, the forebearers of our political process. I'm telling you, you don't deserve say Mube rule Ghana away as the forebearers of our political process. Time Muye crazy for Munte politics. I say that young lady, Bonebe no diam, Kweku Oten, ye sikanko MPP eduma, wanye bia mamo. Wanye bia mamo. So why? I mean, why do you think Kweku Oten deserve this thankless moment? This thankless moment, why? Ya koso.
She will work against Dr. Bawumia's bid after Nana. Although she lobbied for a deputy ministerial appointment, Nana only gave her the NYA board membership, just to stop her father from complaining about his token for the 2016 campaign. Samuel Uku, John Boedu and Chamawuntumi have been tasked to ensure that she is contested and also loses the 2024 parliamentary primary of the party.
Folks, Mate, Etimame Francisca, se utie ya. A similar report makers will take care of you that. Say 2024 election will be lose. Any pass where you say 1 year day, 1 more match you boot for boot on any abobo medino. Ntiti haye. Ya, koso.
2024 primaries no one contested.
One ayo. Otito William. Ayo. Ya, koso.
In her stead, the current presiding member of Kwabri is George Opon, soon to be a lawyer, or any other well-known Akufo-Addo supporter must be assisted to take over the seat by hook or crook. Kwame Sefa-Kine versus Paul Adum Ochre and the future.
Great. Afiyan kosa 2 journalists so. Koso.
It is undeniable fact that the 2 gentlemen have become institutions in their respective rights, especially within the media circles. They are undoubtedly part of the pool of great brands the party shall fall on as we move into the future. While Sefa-Kine appears relaxed and waiting for the right time, Paul seems apprehensive anytime Sefa-Kine is brought into the picture. At the level of presidency, there appears to be a groundswell of support for Kwame over Paul anytime communication issues arise.
Now, say ni pay me no. Paul Adum Ochre and a Kwame Sefa-Kine tension abomumu. So omukoshia party Star Wars and South political elite class way. Akwai ti say obia any ehwe say Kwame Sefa-Kine yema onhyem no nya nuoma. Na Paul Adum Ochre so are very aggressive. It's aggressive na Paul Adum Ochre waye no. Wo musu say no ha adwene enso ni na no yenka hwengum. Enso omu na titi radio ni TV so omu ye adwuma. Na Kwame Sefa-Kine, I hate to do what sometimes I do, but Mama you're quite to do this against you guys. So, Kwame Sefa-Kine betina ni TV ni radio wa. Sa kokro honwa. Mo pese kokro no say kokro I don't even know whichever it is. Na mo pese yet to say. Eno na Ghana phone na NTA. You use this program way to shape the minds of Ghanaians. Me say I'll get time for them. You know what? Na makofa opinion je kumwa betrato na ntira Kevin Taylor to me yamosa. Na me who say Kevin Taylor dinner or do my time some say ha atija. Yemfa nyamo. Mo betrato na ho a na mo use our platform no e dey shape the minds of Ghanaians as if though they are more Ghanaian ne krepe pepe. Meanwhile and throw and ada akoshisam and abraba Kwame Sefa-Kine one of the journalists who has pretended to be that of a journalist fighting for a good cause. Yet he's fighting to maintain the good money that should come to his pocket. We are crooks and we are useless. You are an apologist to the Ghanaian media. What's the American? Kwame Sefa-Kine, we are apologists to the Ghanaian media. The fight to ensure the smooth takeoff of the political transition and to ensure Ghanaians are better off and not for more political aggrandizement. And when upon Kroma no what Joy FM. No host to Super Morning Show. And today I make say journalists for muye edwuma wi na makoji post no. Minim say that minim buase no mkru asesem etie. Na mu de akoji post. Enti ebe den and edwuma na wo ye no. We bisa say where then comes the biases and the unbiases? And then again, where do you question the integrity and the credibility of the job? None of the above. Kwame Sefa-Kine, oteho. And so we MPP ni. And then it doesn't embody biasa, but you will do any clean. But mudi say program na mudi besi ho anapebiano. Mudi shape opinion. Mudi shape the mindset of Ghanaians. Meboa crooks. Yeah, can I
The kitchen cabinet of Nana feels that while Paul is equally known, he has credibility issues to deal with, especially on the conundrum surrounding his withdrawal from the Ghana Law School. Settling on him for the future could create credibility challenge for a ticket. In the next government, Nana will convince Sefakan to chair the NCA board.
Oh, sir.
We believe that Paul is easily swayed by money. Hence, we cannot trust him for any
Paul is easily what?
Swayed by money. Hence, we cannot trust him for any sensitive position. Gabi has already agreed with Nana to move Paul from the NCA to the NMC, which he would be supported to chair. We believe that Paul, although may not be too excited about this prospect, he would gladly accept it as compensation for the work he has been doing for us, especially on the Metro TV Good Evening Ghana show.
And that hono, afimahu, kwanye faswa Metro TV no, Good Evening Ghana no, ade shasi. Mimi dia mite bibia shasi wo behwehwem unya report bia hute. Me obaha said that mo yes agenda report bi enu ho me no ye frame yo ene ja ye ne me sinsan krata ogwagu media no no me wiem ye maduma clean led by hwan Alhaji Sedu Agongo wie me ni NDC fo ni interest biara obabia opa kosoro ko Mahama bedroom na no MPP ni bi meka o se am se Mahama Jonso egu onum tira ma onima yesa na me pese me boni din me sire yesra me sa ho yankopon fa mo boni nchemo na yambra say hijacking of the GBC there na ekoso yaw.
The Ghana Broadcasting Corporation remains the largest media entity in terms of resources and reach. This means that any regime that captures GBC will control the critical mass, especially in rural communities where the private media does not find economically viable to invest. Sadly, the GBC has largely tilted towards the NDC. Perhaps the duration of the NDC as the longest ruling party has ensured that majority of GBC workers are anti-MPP. We have planned a three-layer approach to capturing and controlling the state broadcaster for good.
Hey, just a baby, woman is ho. To every step, to anamo.
Firstly, the plan to revoke some of their TV channels will resume in 2021. We have had to backtrack due to the brouhaha surrounding the revocation of their 3 channels. It appears the time an election year was inappropriate. Kojo Oppong Nkrumah will execute this with finesse and make the channels available to our party business guys whose list is being compiled. A number of GBC radio stations will be sold since they are not living up to the task. Secondly, in our next government, we have to execute a massive agenda where most senior GBC staff will proceed on leave. Others will also be transferred to some very remote communities where life appears unbearable. The strategy is to get them resigned and their positions to be filled with party loyalists. This way, we will not only have taken over the state broadcaster, but our plans to sell some of their frequencies will be met with a little or no hesitation. Thirdly, the last straw is to continue to ensure that the GBC is inflicted with inadequate budgetary allocations. That will justify the need to sell their frequencies. It will also make their leadership even more loyal since they will have to continually keep mute to get bits of their budgetary release from the finance ministry.
GBC no crash ye miawom no mo dare wom no mo yira wom no mo hyehye wom bi betu to wirem ni ade no mo timia capture wom yaw cause
the judiciary and governance in Ghana. Considering the competitive nature of our work as politicians, there is always a need to be a step ahead against our opponents to secure our interests, dominance, and maintain power in 2020 and the next 20 years.
Next 20 years?
Yes, please. Our focus as a party has always been to position our members and sympathizers at strategic positions, both in government and in the judiciary, to cover and protect our interests. This has served us well over the period. All the appointments made to the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, and some of the high courts in Ghana under our government was to promote the MPP agenda and to ensure our country never fails in the hands of the opposition.
Wow. After Ghana for a moment. And many appointments are President Akufo-Addo. They call failure, both Supreme and High Court, Appeals Court. Muhu said it was a calculated agenda and more than a Ghanaians.
Citizens may exercise popular participation in the administration of justice through the institution of public and customary tribunals and the jury and then assessor systems. The judiciary power of Ghana shall be vested in the judiciary. Accordingly, neither the President nor Parliament nor any organ or agency of the President or Parliament shall have or be given final judicial power. The recent decision to exclude the use of birth certificate to prove one's citizenship during the 2020 voter registration exercise is a clear example of the agenda to prevent so many people from registering for this year's election, especially in our opponent's stronghold. We had statistics to suggest the negative impact it would have had for us had we allowed it. All this was done to pave way for a resounding victory for the MPP and Nana in 2020 elections. It is important that we maintain the security we enjoy currently under the judicial system. It is imperative to observe that in recent times, most elections in Africa have been fraught with post-election legal challenges. Kenya, Ivory Coast, and Zimbabwe are few of these cases. As this becomes a norm, our experience of 2013 should never happen again. We should never be in this situation, and the lesson should teach us a lot. Occasionally, it can be discovered that the courts have been instrumental in shaping the democracy in Ghana, and the stakeholders are devotedly operating within the legal framework governing elections, despite logistical, law enforcement, and justice delivery challenges. We should, as lineage, be the winner in this. We have to make sure that even in the unlikely event that the NDC win the 2020 elections, that they do not get the chance to appoint more judges to the Supreme Court. Our control over the judiciary is important for our protection, even if we were to lose election. To prevent such unfortunate situation from occurring, we need to explore all legal avenues to protect our appointees within the judiciary system and find out ways to prevent any new government from making further appointment within the next 10 years at least. We must also re-strategize our campaign. We need to find ways to get majority of Ghanaians to be on our side. The AGYAPADIE may initially create problems for us, but we would need good communicators, people with the legal brains to explain the issues to the general population, that the deal is in the national interest. While only the judiciary can exercise the judicial function, it is slow to resolve disputed facts and law, and often strains to uphold executive authority. For instance, while the Constitution commands that the President appoints members of the Electoral Commission acting on the advice of the Council of State, the court has interpreted this requirement as if the President merely has to consult with the Council of State. In other cases, the court has taken over 2 years and is yet to resolve a simple question of law, of whether the President can appoint a person who is past the mandatory requirement age to hold a public office. It does not help matters that the President can appoint an unlimited number of judges to the Supreme Court. While the Nana has been in office for 3 years, he has appointed 9 judges, including 2 Chief Justices. Admittedly, many of these appointments are made to replace retiring judges, and there are no systematic evidence of There are no systematic evidence of deliberate effort to undermine judicial independence. Nevertheless, it fuels the perception that the president is packing the court to gain influence over the judicial decisions. To breathe life into the separation of power doctrine, there is a need to amend Article 108 to allow MPs to introduce private member bills. It is not an entrenched provision of the Constitution and can be amended with a two-thirds majority. Fortunately, Speaker Professor Michael Quay has signaled that even in the absence of a constitutional amendment, Parliament can address this problem. It is expected that the ongoing process to revise the standing orders of Parliament will contain provisions to allow MPs to introduce non-finance bills. It is necessary to amend Article 78 to allow a president to choose majority of ministers outside Parliament and also to have a ceiling on the number of ministers required for running government. We also need to place a ceiling on the number of Supreme Court judges and to require all of them to hear all cases, especially those with constitutional ramifications. In the short term, and in the absence of a constitutional amendment, as was suggested as far back in 2003 by Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, there is a need to develop conventions to address some of these gaps, rather than take actions that maintain the status quo or exacerbate the problem. In respect of Article 78, through a convention developed between the executive and legislature, a cap on a number of ministers can be reached. Ideally, it can be double the number required of a cabinet, 38, excluding regional ministers. A similar convention can be adopted to provide for a ceiling on the number of Supreme Court justices to be appointed. The 2020 election will not be easy for us with current happenings. We need to set up. Why are we so quiet on the Airbus scandal? Yes, we know we haven't found enough to indict Mahama, but a number of Ghanaians were buying into our approach. Why have we stopped? It is time to go back to the drawing board. We must make sure we use the court system to help us damage the NDC beyond repair. Let us start prosecuting people. That is why we put our people there. Otherwise, we have a problem.
Now, Munjadio, share a manual samna moyena. NPP, NDC, CPP, PNC, Muna mobile say Ghana ye yinti. So why in your wildest imagination, Muya abonia force, Mobeka say, Yanko say NDC for yan chichi bi mum ni ade na party munya bija. Na Emma kwama muni power. Monso mobile enu ya wa nya banche ye body. Na yeden. Chrono stealing our money. Daylight looting of Ghana's coffers. And one no say ya. Finish up.
Our attempts to take charge of the judiciary is a matter of necessity. Lest we forget that in Accra on June 30, 1982, between the hours of 9 p.m. and 10:30 p.m., 4 peace-loving and illustrious Ghanaian citizens were abducted and callously murdered. The 4 were Mrs. Justice Cecilia Cranton Ado, Justice F.P. Sarkodie, and K.A. Ejapon, and Major Sam Akwa.
Retired.
Retired, yeah. 4 people. Joachim Amati Kwesi, then 32 years. Amati Kwe, yes. Then 32 years.
Lance Corporal.
Lance Corporal Samuel Kweku Amedeka, 27. Lance Corporal Michael Senya, 21. Johnny Jandu, 23. And Tony Tekpo, 24, were tried by a National Public Tribunal chaired by Mr. George Ejikum. We cannot acquiesce to the public quest for bygones be bygones mantra. It is important to understand that the origin still stays with our good friend and former foe, Mr. Rawlings.
Okay, me can have international relations now. Muntia international relations, dear na Also, our Russian allies have proven themselves with Operation Coat Magazine. We couldn't have made it thus far with the aggressive nature of the opposition without this strategic document. By handing out magazine to the NPP government, we would need to develop a much longer relationship with them, even in the unlikely situation of the party ever going into opposition. However, COP Apietu would need to be handled, having served as the eye of the Russian Federation in our republic. It is very imperative to redevelop relationships and try to avert his anger. His refusal to go become ambassador to the Ukraine signals that the Russians still trust him and would be unwilling to deal with the party in the long run without him. Now, friends, David Asantia P2, I mean, or they may call court on where Granny ye. Omu believe so a Russian spy. And the bra, woman didn't call ambassadorial position or Ukraine or so on. Why? So, Koya, then it will be, say, a betrayal of the Russian trust. The implementation led by Samia Oku, Lord Comey, Michael Opoku, and the rest would still have to be coordinated with Apietu in its fullest brute form to achieve a total annihilation of the NDC opposition and its leading elements. We need to properly assess the genuineness of Mr. Yevgeny Prigozhin, now dead. He had disclosed in the last meeting in London that he was all for Nana and has had no dealings whatsoever with the former president and his party. He repeated this statement in Sochi at a dinner we had with the Egyptian president. It has, however, been difficult to double-check this statement from Mr. Apietu. Prigozhin, any through the plane crash. It is our duty to consider what is set out in the bigger Russian picture and pick and choose what would benefit the family. This is key because Ghana is ranked at level 3 and the magazine program only suffices up to end of 2020. It is instructive to look at the Moscow ground plan beyond 2020. The Russian development strategy, which covers the division of the African economy, is meant to contrast the interests of other states. Now, in the light of the above, Kwame and Kusi are to consult and carefully check the benefits of this arrangement as against that of the U.S. properly position the family and our tradition to be the winners of this political chess game. By way of reference, Ghana for yeah, speak your mind. Na memra making kind document reference and messages they boom it so.
In short, the American say nations are built on national development plans, not personal or family development plans. And to say a person mining to Mpona, I was say you pursue the national agenda instead of individual or family agenda. Say you pursue family plans and now personal plans to develop countries. So that is where we are because we have dwelled solely on personal interests and family interests, not national interests. We should champion national interests as people, then the country will develop.